So welcome everyone to Crypto Miners Twitter space. My name is Mary and I will be your host. And also a reminder that anything we talk about in here is only for educational purpose and it should not be taken as financial advice, but you know that. And you also know that you have to do your own research as well. So today we are going to learn about a project called Pendle. And our guest today is Mr. T.N. Lee, the CEO of Pendle. And I can see you in here, Mr. Lee. It's still connecting, so you can't speak yet. Oh, okay. We will wait for his internet to connect. And Mr. Daniel, are you in here? Marketing lead of Pendle. There's someone called Dan. Maybe that's you. Let's see. Do we have the right Dan? Very good.
Cool. Can
And
you?
Mr. T.N. Lee.
Yeah, Tian is currently a listener.
I am unmuting you as well.
Yeah, cool. He's a
You're
speaker
going to
now.
be, the two of you are going to speak, right, Daniel?
Yeah, it'll be the both of us are speaking. Yeah.
Very good. And now I think also T.N. Lee can speak.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hey.
Yep. We hear you.
Okay.
Yes, we can hear you. Very good. You're both here, and we are starting on time, I think. So let's dig into this project called Pendle. And very welcome, both of you. Lovely to have you here at Crypto Miners. Why don't we start by you to do some brief presentation of yourself and also maybe the team behind this project, Pendle.
Yeah, sure. So I'll get started first before I pass it on to Dan, who can also elaborate more about his involvement with Pendle. Now, so to begin, I am Tian, the CEO, co-founder of Pendle. And Pendle is a yield trading protocol designed to allow users in crypto space to trade yield from multiple DeFi venues like AMM and money market and vaults like Yearn and Pickle Finance, a couple of others. So we've been around since June 2021, and over the past year of running Pendle, we've seen and we've facilitated over $250 million of trading volume across the different markets. And we are now very, very close to launching V2 of Pendle protocol. Dan?
Very good.
Yeah, cool. Just cool. I think Tian pretty much covered everything about the protocol. Dan. I lead the growth and marketing team in Pendle, and I've been here with Pendle ever since before we started. And before this, I was pretty much interested in the traditional finance space. I guess that pretty much ties in very well to what we're doing here.
So how long have you been into crypto, guys?
For me personally, I actually started on crypto back in 2014. Back then, I was still a student and I was doing research work for a professor. And because the professor tasked me to research on fintech business models, I came across a company that utilized Bitcoin as a tool for money remittance across like cross-border money remittance. And I thought the proposition was quite fascinating, so I looked deeper into it. So fast forward, I chanced upon Ethereum and went deeper into the technology itself and thought it was very interesting. And back in 2017, I was also very fortunate to join Kyber as a founding team member. and had very, very good exposure through that opportunity. So that was a little bit of my background, and I've pretty much been in crypto ever since.
Nice. What about you, Dan?
Personally, I haven't been in crypto for too long, since late 2020. Before that, I was doing some traditional finance stuff. That was before I met Tien, and Tien was the one who roped me into the crypto space, and I've been pretty much, exploring the space ever since. Yeah, pretty much can call myself a crypto native now.
Very good. So if I met you in an elevator and you didn't know if I knew anything about crypto or anything, how would you pitch your project to me?
Yeah, so generally, I think the way I would really simplify Pendle to a user who might not be familiar with uh, a derivative like ours is, yeah, to suggest interest rate swap, because I guess like generally the way to understand the product is to know that when you participate in DeFi venues, you are entitled to yield, and these yield can actually be traded through Pendle.
So, I mean, I looked into your webpage and it is, I mean, I'm not an expert or anything about crypto, but I've been in the space maybe 1.5 year now, and it seems to me it's a little bit complicated. So I hope now during this AMA or presentation that you could like bring us with you so we are all on the same page and we really understand what your project is here for. What kind of problem is it that you saw in this crypto space that you are trying to solve with Pendle, and how can you make us understand what kind of benefits we could have from the project,
Yeah, of course,
from buying into the
for
project?
sure. So, yeah, we'll get to the questions in a bit, right? Yeah, but at a high level, from V1 to the V2 that is due for launch in like pretty soon, right? We have actually made pretty drastic improvement in regards to the user experience, and I think the narrative, which we'll go into further down, will also be catered more to a wider range of audience, specifically to retail users. So here we are attempting to abstract away the complexity and the derivative knowledge to interact with the protocol.
Okay, very good. So maybe we can talk also a little bit more about the team, because you two are here now, but how many people are working with this project and how do you know each other?
Yes. So effectively for Pendle, we actually have 22 people in our team roster. And we started out with 4 co-founders actually. But over the course of the last 2 years, we've expanded the team to the current size. So in terms of co-founders, we actually knew each other back when we were working at different companies, but specifically to crypto. So for me and another co-founder, we started out at Kyber, and then another co-founder, Vu, who is our tech lead, he was the lead smart contract engineer at Digix, which is also an OG gold tokenization protocol. And then there's YK, who was from IM Token. So from the founding team, we're actually very, very crypto native, considering that we've been involved in the space since 2017 period. And over time, we've also recruited very, very bright and talented individuals from multiple sectors to make up the current team composition.
That's good. So you know the core team knew each other from real life even, maybe then.
Yes. So our
Is that
team,
correct?
yeah, our team actually, we are primarily based out of Asia. And before this, we've worked with each other in different capacities.
Very good. It's always good to know that people know each other and are docs to each other within a team, I think. So makes it feel better for an investor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have developed a unique relationship among each other because we were colleagues and we've had very good understanding of our working styles, our strengths and weaknesses. And now that we're leading a team, we have also very similar values in real life. So we are basically just projecting what we want to see in ourselves onto the team.
Cool. So I mean, I asked earlier, I'm not sure you answered that really, but what kind of problem you really saw, or why did you start this? How did it come to start this project?
Yes.
What were you thinking about when you
Yes.
find out you wanted to do this?
So the primary motivation for us to develop Pendle is the recognition for fixed rate products in the space. So it all goes back to DeFi summer back in 2020. So our team collectively, right, we've been participating in a number of different food coins and food protocols back in the days, and we were really enjoying the 10, 20,000% APY. So as much as we liked the APYs, we knew that they weren't sustainable, and as a result of that, that just it just became very clear to us that there was no product in space at that point in time to allow us the ability to lock in rates. And we started to think about the problem statement a bit more, and we compared that opportunity to the one in conventional finance. It occurred to us that fixed rate sector is arguably the largest sector within the traditional finance. And given that there was a lack of product in the crypto space, we thought it would make sense for us to go deeper and think about solutions to allow for fixed rates within crypto sector. And our implementation involves the utilization of yield-bearing assets from DeFi venues, split them up into principal token and yield token. So yeah, the doing so allows these two components to be traded independently.
And who are you targeting? Who is your main customer or user, would you say?
As of now, I would say the primary users would still confine to traders who are more sophisticated and have a deeper appreciation for derivatives, and institutions, so the more professional trading shops. I think our product, as of now, remains relatively distant from most retail users because it is a second degree derivative, and to be able to fully appreciate the mechanics and the design of the protocol, you have to dive pretty deep into the way the different components work. But I think I'm just going to pass it on to Dan to help elaborate a bit more about how we're standardizing the protocol. But know that in the new implementation, we will have new interfaces to cater to a wider range of audience because we think that we think it's important to have an interface to onboard users who might not have the derivative knowledge, because most people don't actually have very, very deep derivative knowledge. So it makes sense for us to have an interface that most people can relate to.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because I felt a little bit lost when I tried to understand the project, and I'm not a trader or anything, but I would imagine that maybe you turn also to those, if we are talking about like mass adoption or taking people from outside this space who doesn't know about crypto, how can they relate to your project? Maybe then stock traders could relate more than the average person on the street.
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah.
Now, Yeah, just to give you a bit of what we are going to focus on in V2 launch in pretty soon, right? The narrative that we're going after is to allow users to buy assets at a discount. So we think that this is a relatively easy way to understand the protocol. We don't expect people to actually understand how it works at the back because the derivative knowledge can still be quite intimidating. But the functionality and how we achieve the objective to allow users to purchase asset at a discount can be attained through our protocol. So yeah, moving forward with our outreach and our materials, we're just going to be focusing on buying asset at a discount. And we think that this is like the interface when it comes out. I think most people would be able to navigate the protocol relatively easily without any kind of guidance.
Yeah, I think that's also a key. I mean, if you have, I mean, I don't know exactly how my smartphone works, but I can use it. So, and I like to use it. So maybe this is a little bit similar. If you make it more simple and yeah, user friendly, then it's going to be very good because I'm sure that there is a really good thought about all this and how it works with the algorithms or yeah, how you can make money because that's ultimately that's why we are doing stuff here in crypto also. I mean, yeah, nice to get friends and things like that and get to know people and projects, but we all want to earn something from it,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, would like our platform to be a wealth generation avenue for yeah, a good number of users in the space. And we think that there's a lot of potential here and very happy to share some strategies and learn a lot more from our users too.
Hmm. Very good. And you said you were going to pass it on to Dan. Sorry, I interrupted there, Dan, so you didn't get the chance.
No worries. This is talking about how we were going to, like one of the things that we're going to launch for V2. Okay, just to give a little bit of context. A couple of hours ago, we just announced our V2 version of our mechanics, which is our AMM, and yeah, it's pretty much the start of our series of announcements for the V2 version of the protocol. And as Tian mentioned, our V2 version will encapsulate more of the crypto ethos that we all share, where things are permissionless and things are easy to use, and welcome everyone to use the protocol. And with that, the protocol, we're opening up our protocol to everyone to use the protocol. So anyone can create a pool on the protocol, just similar to how Uniswap does things. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys here have used Uniswap before or are familiar with Uniswap. And the UI is easy, it's easy to understand, and it's pretty much permissionless for everyone to use. And yeah, introducing our V2 will also introduce all of these features that covers all of this crypto ethos that we all have.
And also to say you are already you can already buy this token, right? You can buy it on Ethereum or Avalanche, is that correct? Those are the two?
Yeah, we're on Ethereum and Avalanche. You can find either on SushiSwap or SushiSwap on Ethereum or Trader Joe on Avalanche.
Okay. When did you launch? How long have you been
We launched
on the
last June, June 17th,
Okay.
2021. So we've actually been in operation for about a year and a half now.
Very good. So what kind of what have you learned along the way? What would you do a little bit different maybe, or how are you moving forward?
Yeah, for sure. Like there have been a lot of observations and learnings that we've accumulated over the last 1.5 years. I'd say one of the more important things that we learned along the way is that it is extremely important to listen to users. So for one, when we started out, because there wasn't any precedence of our product of any kind in the space, so we had to make a lot of assumptions. And as we progressed, we make a lot of adjustments in accordance to the requests and responses from our user base. And what we realized is that when we developed the first product, it wasn't exactly catered to what our users needed. And as a result of that, no matter how many changes that we incorporated onto the protocol, it just didn't seem very right. And at some point in time, we decided that it would make a lot of sense for us to restart our development. And that's why we worked on V2. And this V2 is basically an essence of our learnings over the last 1.5 year of operating Pendle. And it involves quite a number of improvements from the V1 implementation. So that's one. Secondly, in terms of learning, right? I think in crypto, the I mean the thesis here is that there's still a lot of interest in fixed rate products, but the product isn't necessarily most relatable to a lot of users at this point in time. And I think that it will change given how the market circumstance has evolved into from a couple of months ago, right? We've observed that people's risk appetite have changed, and back in the days, people were more willing to take on risk and hopping from one protocol to another protocol to maximize yield gains and not really considering the risk management aspect. But over time, as we've seen with the collapse of Luna and then Voyager, Celsius, Three Arrows, and most recently FTX, it just occurred to us that the risk management is just as important. And we think that this would be a very good precedence for a product like ours because we are operating entirely on chain and we are offering a fixed rate product that will not compromise on user funds moving forward, right? So yeah, we think these are just some observations that we can align our product and direction towards and incorporate these things into our materials and narrative.
All right, yeah. So maybe we can have a little experiment here because I want to take the opportunity now when you are here and I can really hear from you, the core team, how this works. If let's say I have $1,000 that I want to invest in your project. I go and buy the token, that's step one, right? And then what can I do? How can that help me get more money? What do I have to do? What's the next step?
Dan, you want to take this?
Right, cool. So, like many other typical DeFi protocols, there are a couple of things you can do. So, if you buy the token right now, invest the protocol, it means you're investing in the protocol. And we have a single-sided staking pool on our app where you can just simply stake it and earn extra yield from the Pendle that you bought. But beyond that, you don't even have to just simply buy the tokens to use the protocol. You can use the protocol for many other things, such as getting fixed rate. Like currently, the fixed rate on our protocol is pretty decent. Some of them are. We have about 8% fixed rate APY on stable coins and a couple of other assets that are supported on our protocols. Or alternatively, you can leverage up your yield exposure, but I'd say that's for the more advanced users. But yeah, and you can also provide liquidity to farm the token and gain extra yield as well. And yeah, there's a bunch of things that you can do with the protocol. But if you're just simply looking to buy the tokens, we have a single-sided staking pool where you can just stake Pendle and earn more Pendle on the way.
Yes. So if I'm not good at trading or doing all these more complicated things, and I like your project maybe, and I want to invest in it, so I can buy the token and hold it, and I can stake it. Is that what you were saying?
Yep.
Okay. So how much revenue do I get? What's the APY for normal staking? Or approximately?
It fluctuates.
Yeah.
It fluctuates. It depends on how many people are staked in a protocol, and I can't really give an approximate number right now. I can pull up the numbers from the app if.
Okay, yeah, maybe that was not the best question because that is, as you said, it's not a fixed APY anyway.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So I get some questions here from some. Let's see if we can ask them. Where will you be getting the reserves?
Like
Can you start this
liquidity?
again?
I'm not really sure what it means here. Can you specify? RH? The reserves of what? Okay, maybe we can take this one instead. Do you know any of your competitors, and how can you do better than they do? What makes you stick out from your competitors? Let's have that question instead.
Yeah. So, in terms of competitors, the space that we're working in is kind of a niche industry where everyone here is trying to grow the pie instead of competing against one another. But so far, we haven't really seen any really strong adoption in what we're doing. But from what we see in the industry, that a lot of people are flocking into the space that we're building, which is a fixed rate space, and it's pretty much a good sign to see that people are trying to build in this space. But comparing us to our competitors, again, we haven't really seen that much. We haven't really seen any really strong player in this specific field in the industry yet, because the state of the industry that we're in is still pretty niche.
I will substantiate with one of the core features that we're pushing out with V2. So specifically, right, I think one of the bigger aspects of Pendle V2 is the permissionless aspect. And this was a point that Dan brought up earlier. Now, we think that being a permissionless protocol is a very important step to take for us, largely because we think it is a very important foundation from a scaling standpoint. Now, from our experience and historically speaking, right, there are a lot of ways that a protocol can grow. And I think one of the best ways that we've seen so far is to allow for maybe developers or traders or whoever, right, who wants to participate in the protocol and leverage on the composability of the protocol for something more meaningful. And in this way, the way we think about it is to enable more Lego blocks to be built on top of Pendle, and being permissionless is actually a very important step for us to take, because all this time, over the last 1.5 years, we've always been the bottleneck. And even in the last 1.5 years, there had been a number of money markets that have approached us to support their yield-bearing assets. But because of the lack of resources and time, we weren't able to support as many protocols as we had wanted to. And that left a lot of opportunities on the table simply because of our incompetency to support more protocols in a short span of time. But moving forward, we aim to change that, and we will be the first protocol to do that, right? Because there are so many opportunities, and all these yield-bearing assets represent a lot of untapped value within the ecosystem. And if we can allow for a way for these values that reside within yield-bearing assets to be unlocked, I think we can enable a lot more use cases. And this is something that we're very excited about.
Very nice. All right, it seems to me that we have some really smart people among the crowd here, because I get some questions I hardly can understand, but let's see if you can understand them. So Here is from Dream Grill. I have read that Pendle is applying an initiative that rewards long-term Pendle holders and contributors value to the protocol, which is the PEP and PAP. Can you clarify that exactly is the PEP and PAP? How does it work?
It's, I'll say, without going too much of a detail, that is an initiative that we had a while back where a single liquidity provision in the protocol leads to liquidity provision in leads to increase in TVL in the protocol, at the same time increase the liquidity of the token of the protocol. Pretty much an initiative that we had back then to kill, two birds with one stone, because of the nature of our product, releasing PEP or PAP gave us liquidity in the protocol and also gave us liquidity for the token.
Okay, I hope Dream Girl is happy with that answer.
Yeah. So I think PEP, just to add on, right? Like PEP resides on Ethereum. PAP refers to like Pendle AVAX against Pendle. So
okay.
the reason why we have PEP and PAP is because we have presence on both Ethereum and Avalanche.
Yes,
but the functionalities are effectively the same.
All right, we have another question from Roger. I read that OT holders are entitled to the incentives distributed by the asset protocol. How does these incentives work, and what does a card holder have to do to get their rewards? Is it true that this distribution of rewards is done automatically by the protocol?
So there are a couple of there are a couple of parts here. So interesting to see the question coming from pre-advanced user, I'd say, because it's regarding farming in the protocol. So the OT token has a fixed yield, is what we mentioned previously. It will be renamed in V2 to PT, but pretty much OT receives fixed yield. So if you just hold OT, you'll receive fixed yield. That's it. If you provide liquidity to OT, you'll earn some swap fees and also some incentives that will be distributed to you automatically every Thursday for now. But given that V2 is coming, I think you should look out for V2 and try to see if you can migrate your liquidity to V2, because the yield over in V2 will be much better. And from the article that we just released a couple of hours ago, providing liquidity in that same pool of OT will yield you 4 sources of yield from one liquidity provision. So do look out for that.
Okay, there you go. Thank you for that. So I'm also curious about the future of this product. You said now that you're launching the V2 right now, so I guess your focus is much on that at the moment. But if you look up and look like 5 years from now, where do you hope to see Pendle in 5 years?
So in 5 years' time, I'd like for Pendle to be the default fixed rate product. Effectively, when people think about fixed rates, DeFi fixed rate, they think about Pendle. And if we can attain that kind of mind share within the community, I think we have succeeded to a large extent our objective that we're setting for ourselves right now. And in order for us to achieve that, I think there are a lot of things that we need to accomplish in the meantime, from user education standpoint, and then product improvement, continuous product improvement. And all these things will also have to tie back to continuous experimentation across multiple fields. Now, as you rightfully pointed out in the beginning, right, our product is relatively complex, but we are attempting to abstract away the complexities by introducing new interfaces and more education materials. And then secondly, we are also investing time and resources into growth and business development efforts. So the reason why we are engaging crypto miners to have this conversation with crypto miners community is an attempt to do that. We think that the outreach is especially important, and we need to do our best, work with different community developers, and establish ourselves and our proposition to as many people as possible. And then it is also super important for us to have easy access to our protocol, because right now Pendle.finance/app is pretty much the only way users can interact with the ownership token and yield tokens, right? But over the course of the next couple of months or years, we hope that we can integrate with more DeFi venues and with more interfaces that users are familiar with, so that they don't have to relearn the experience on Pendle UI, but instead they can rely on interfaces that they are already familiar with and achieve the same kind of outcome that they would have if they were to interact with Pendle UI. So this is another aspect. And of course, I think more importantly, we have to continue to think about innovative ways to engage users and come up with creative use cases for our protocol. I think the crypto space at this point in time is relatively reserved because of what just happened. And I think the appetite is relatively low at this point in time. But I've also been in the space since a couple of years ago, and I've been through some cycles up and down, right? And in moments like this, it is super important to focus on ways to continue to innovate on the product, because innovation doesn't stop. So our team is just very, very committed to this particular direction and this cause. And we will explore new ways that we probably haven't imagined at this point in time to enable more use cases across a wider range of audience.
Very good answer. Thank you so much. I think we have a question from a listener here. RH, go ahead. What was your question? You have to unmute yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
I'm trying to understand what you're actually doing, because the information on the website is quite vague, because, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got pools with Avalanche and Ethereum. How are you attracting new users to join into your pools? Because we're in a bear market, and maybe about a year and a half ago, it was attractive where projects with advertising great yields or great APYs. And how are you attracting users or investors to join your pools and stake your product? Because we're in a bear market, and I don't see how that is possible, because it was attractive a year ago when people was giving great percentages in the APY, but now we're in a bear market. How do you find that? How do you find doing that?
So at a high level, we will start off with incentive. So there are a couple of ways that we will look to bootstrap liquidity and hope to kickstart the positive flywheel. Number one is incentive. So the incentive, I mean, yes, right now it's a bear market. The incentive might not be, it might not constitute a significant portion, but nevertheless, it is still an avenue of gains for users. Secondly, we look to work with the protocols, various protocols, to contribute liquidity to our pools. Now, as an example, right? Let's say if we want to list token A, we can work directly with platform A that issues token A and have them to contribute some liquidity to the pool. Because many times when we speak with all these protocol token issuers, they are looking for additional utility for their yield-bearing assets. And what we can offer here is an avenue to increase utility for their protocol tokens. So this is a second option for us to work with protocol token issuers and have them to provide some liquidity. And thirdly, it involves selling the use cases and working more closely with trading shops and hedge funds. So instead of relying on retail users at this moment, right? Instead of relying on retail users to participate in pools, we will have to do the less scalable way and interact directly with trading shops and have them to contribute liquidity, because I don't think we have very established use cases at this point in time, but we do have good relationships with some of the trading shops, considering that we have a number of more reputable trading shops as investors. So having them to contribute a little bit of liquidity to support a portfolio company is not too much to ask.
Okay. And so what APYs are you offering now?
At this point in time, I think it is very difficult for us to address this. I was referring more to the expected APY to Pendle V2, but referring to the current Pendle V1, in terms of APY for discounts, as far as I can remember, for OTC DAI that expires at the end of this year, we're looking at around 20, a little more than 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that.
Thank you, Ulrich. Let's have some more people up here to ask questions. Is that okay with you guys?
Of course.
I'm unmuting Ryan, and after Ryan we have Rainy. Let's see who's first. Ryan, go ahead. What is your question? Ryan, you have to unmute yourself. Okay, then we take Rainy instead. Do you have a question, Rainy?
Yeah, hello. Hello, Dan. Hello. So my question will be about the process of how the interest-bearing tokens will be. It will be split into two, as I have seen on your website, and it will split into an ownership token and a yield token. So I want to know how this works and what happens after the interest-bearing tokens are split into OT and YT. And since I don't have much idea on how yield tokenization works, I want to know how different is it when it is done on Pendle than on other similar yield optimizers. And that's all.
Yeah, so maybe I can use an analogy to make things easier for you. So as you know, as you mentioned, Pendle's is a yield tokenization protocol at first, where we tokenize the yield of any yield-bearing asset. What it means is that we take the future streams of yield and we, split it into a different token. So if you want to have an analogy, it's like when you buy a house, you can rent it out and you can earn rental income. But the thing is, the rental income, belongs to the person that owns the house. What we do in Pendle is we split those two. So imagine the rental portion and the ownership of the house as two separate components, and you can sell or buy each of these components separately. So you can buy the rental portion if you think that the rent is going to go up, or if you're a house owner, if you think rent is going to go down, you can sell away that rental income in the future and earn whatever you're going to earn in the future immediately today, because you're pretty much selling whatever you're going to earn in the future, right? And YT is, YT represents the yield of the asset, and It's similar to the rental portion, and OT is the ownership asset, which is similar to owning the house itself. So that's pretty much how we achieve yield tokenization. But you can think of yield tokenization as pretty much the first step to what we're doing. So you have to tokenize the yield first, and then you can trade the individual components separately. And yeah, there's pretty much different use cases for trading both of the assets separately. And if you ask what's the difference between our yield tokenization versus a competitor's yield tokenization, it's hard to. I would say that for now, Pendle's way of tokenizing yield and trading yield is the most versatile out of most other projects, because there are more strategies they can carry out with Pendle's way of yield tokenization and trading these tokenized yields.
Thank you, Rainy. Is Ryan ready for his question? Nope. All right. Let's have someone else up here. Oops, they are jumping around. Where did you go? There.
Ryan unmuted.
Hello, sir.
Oh, Ryan. Yeah. What is your question, Ryan?
My question is, it's easy to make a token, but it's really hard to make this token valuable. So what's your strategy to make your token more valuable? And what's your plan to maintain token price and supply?
To understand, let me just understand your question a bit more. You're asking how to make the token valuable? Is that how I understand? I mean, is my understanding correct? Pardon.
Say again?
Is my understanding of your question accurate?
Okay.
Sorry, you were asking about how to make the token valuable, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think you did.
Okay. So in our case, for Pendle V1, we didn't have utility for Pendle token. But with Pendle V2 that will be launching soon, we will actually have token mechanics and additional token utility that leverages on protocols and accrue value. So the exact information will be shared in the coming days. So I would suggest to wait out for that.
Yes, thank you, Ryan, for that. Fissa, do you have a question?
Hello. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes,
How are you, Mary?
I'm fine. How are you? Let's hear your
Good.
question.
Yeah. Okay, my question is, there are a lot of APY projects promises a lot of investor, but when people invest in them, they reduce the APY, and also there are anti-dump features, like they only allow some percentage for selling. I have seen a lot of people invest without knowing about anti-dump system and get frustrated. So how will you tackle these issues? Did you get my question?
Not really.
Can I ask again?
Yes, please.
There are a lot of APY projects promises a lot of investor, but when people invest in them, they reduce the APY, and also there are anti-dump features, like they only allow some percentage for selling. I have seen a lot of people invest without knowing about anti-dump system and get frustrated. So how will you tackle these issues?
As
How
far
will you
as I'm
tackle the anti-dumps
as far as
features?
Yeah.
I'm concerned, we are leaving quite a lot of optionality for users to decide what they want to do with the token.
Yeah, also, I think we're pretty transparent with everything that we do in the protocol. So any changes will be announced beforehand, and there won't be any drastic changes, as to what you mentioned before, for our protocol. Do we answer your question?
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was talking. I was on mute. Sorry. Yeah, thank you for that. Let's see. I don't think we have more time for more questions from the audience, to be honest. If someone has a very short question, maybe, but because we have another AMA starting in 10 minutes, that's why. But it has been a real pleasure to get to know and actually scratch on the surface to this project. And I would very much like to hear more from you again. Maybe we can set up a date where we can go in more in depth to these questions and really understand. Because what I understand is that right now you're targeting more like institutional and also people who knows a lot already about this trading business. But with the V2 there will be different, and other people will also be able to understand or use it, although maybe they don't have to understand everything. Is that correct?
That is correct. Our goal here
very
is
good.
to allow users to participate in the protocol without having to have the derivative knowledge that is required in V1.
That is very good. Yeah. So you're going to teach people how to do these difficult tradings without thinking it's very difficult.
Yes. I think it's a lot more than that, but the idea is for people to
Yes.
interact for the basic functions without having the need for tutorial.
Yeah. Your project is very vast. It's lots and lots of things to learn about it, and you can read the white paper also, and really dig into deep. And I think many people here are traders and know how to do that, and will definitely do it also and learn more. So it was lovely to have you guys. And is there something that you would like to add that we haven't really covered, that you feel like, oh, damn, I wanted to say that?
Yes, I would like to say that we will have more announcements to come out in the coming days. So please follow us on Twitter and stay tuned for our announcements.
Very good. Very good. So thank you so much for coming. And maybe Dan wants to have also some final words.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing as Tian. Look out for V2. V2 is coming, and we'll have quite a lot of announcements coming up. Do follow us on Twitter at Pendle_Phi. And yeah, have a blast and enjoy what we're gonna announce.
And you can be found on Twitter, and you also have a Telegram group, right?
We have a Telegram channel for our announcements as well, and but we're more active on Discord. Do join our Discord community if you guys are into that. And yeah, it's a very lively community where everyone is pretty much very helpful to help out one another with any questions that you might have about a protocol.
And do you also have like a help board for people who, like me, who doesn't really understand everything and needs lots of help if I'm wanna dive?
Yeah, pretty much. You can check out our doc to learn more, or just hop onto the Discord channel. Someone will attend to that for sure in a matter of minutes.
Very good. I like that. I like when the community also steps in to help each other, and that's really good. So I have one last little weird question that I used to ask sometimes, and that is, would you like to eat a pizza with or without pineapple, guys?
I'm cool with both.
You're cool with both.
I like it a little sweeter, so yeah, pineapple for me.
Okay, very good. We have two yes sayer here, guys. I like it. All right, guys, it was a pleasure hosting you, and it's a really, really interesting project. So I wish you the best of luck with the launching of V2. And yeah, do your own research, guys, and get to know this project.
Thank you for having us.
Well,
And
thanks for
really
having us.
appreciate the time, Mary.
Thank you, guys. And I actually hope that we will see each other soon again, because yeah, this project needs more attention, I think, to get to know properly.
Sounds
So thank
good.
you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
Bye,
All right, see you guys.
everyone. Have a good one.
Bye.
And
Mhm.
I hope to see you over at Telegram in 5 minutes. We start another AMA over there at Crypto Miners Telegram community. So welcome and have a nice one. Bye bye.
Ciao.